Another tough loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs and their fans as their season ended in another Game 7 at the hands now to the Florida Panthers. A lot of questions now surrounding the Buds as they head into the offseason, but if you missed any of Game 7, here's a look at what happened. The Leafs were outshot 7-0 in the first few minutes of the first period, but when they finally got their first shot, it was close.
Nylander up high, along the line, to the net, rolled through, Nylander, Bobrovsky with a big stop.
William Nylander with a nice attempt. Now the Leafs would get a too-many-men penalty near the end of the first, and Joseph Woll made block after block to keep this at 0 after 1. To the second period, a bit of a delay as one of the refs got injured, but a few minutes later the game would resume and the Panthers would score.
Up ahead, Rodriguez gets it across, Seth Jones walks in, scores!
Panthers up 1-0, and well, it was 2-0 shortly after.
Back to Marchand, that one up, Wall in front, scores! Anton Lundell!
The bleeding would continue. Panthers would score 3 goals in just over 6 minutes. It was almost 4-0 to end the third, but there was goal interference made, so that one did not count. The Leafs down 3 after 2. The Leafs needing a big comeback in the third. Max Domi getting the Buds finally on the board.
Bobby McMahon quickly, they caught him on a change. Domi in, scores!
Bringing some hope back in the building, but 47 seconds later, the Panthers would score again. The Buds unable to overcome the Panthers' lead, and their season is over. For the fans that came out to support the team at Maple Leaf Square, it was a tough watch.
It's pretty upsetting, to be honest. I'm pretty speechless. We had the passion, we had the drive. Game 6, they had us confident. And better luck next year, I guess. We'll get them next year.
How are you feeling tonight? What are you wanting to see from this team in the offseason?
Hopefully they're not spending too much time on the golf course. You know, they're working hard. They're getting ready for next year.
You know, I feel like, we just need to reevaluate our team, get some younger guys, I think we need to make some changes, some good changes, and hopefully, we can come back next year, maybe in 2 years, and hopefully win a Stanley Cup.
Devastated. It's like a bittersweet feeling. At least I never have to watch Mitch Marner in a Leaf uniform again.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, the big question surrounding them is Mitch and free agency. You would like to see them move on from him?
I mean, we've moved on from our coach, we've moved on from our GM, we've moved on from bottom 6 forwards. At some point, you have to realize it's an issue within the core.
How are you feeling after this?
Just a sense of disappointment. The Leafs were a better defensive and offensive team all year. We all thought that this is our year. It's going to be a little bit different. I was here at Game 6 with a lot of excitement and the build-up for that, and they played an awesome game. They just couldn't cut it this game.
It is not easy to even make it this far in the playoffs, and they lost to the defending Stanley Cup champions. Is there anything from their performance throughout this season or playoffs that brings you hope, or you're like, it just wasn't enough?
I think there's still a sense of hope. You have to look at the positives of it all. The team played better defensively the whole year. Craig Berube was hired as a new coach, and I think he implemented that. I'm just looking forward to see what the Leafs can bring next year.
And the Leafs streak continues of them not advancing to the Eastern Conference Final. The last time they did that was in 2002, and then the last time they actually were able to win a series-clinching game at home that would have saw them advance to the next series in the playoffs, that was back in 2004. For City News, I'm Lindsay Dunn.